The Challenger shuttle mission, the unfortunate accident that happened was that about a minute or so into liftoff, the Challenger exploded over Florida or Texas, wherever it took off from, Houston, I believe. Initially, it sounds like it just is a terrible mistake, but if you look into it, you realize it could have been completely avoided. Um, the reason why it failed was there were some O joints that kept I believe the fuel from being exposed to the high density, and because of the cold temperatures that morning, it shrank, which didn't mean it didn't seal properly, and so it led to that catastrophic failure. But like I said earlier, it was avoidable. There was a engineer, Roger Boisjoli, I believe is how you say it, and they had done testing, him and others, and they had found they had seen concerns and failures in the O joints before. They had seen on previous flights where there was soot underneath it, where soot shouldn't be, and the only way it could have gotten there was if it shrank and didn't seal properly. And so it got to the point where they were so against it that when the day came for the Challenger to take off, they told NASA that they shouldn't do it. It's too dangerous. And so for liftoff to happen, well, they said delayed so they can look into it. And for liftoff to happen, all the heads of the committees, I believe, had to sign off on it. And so when Rogers had, like, his manager said no, we don't want to do it, NASA personnel took him and convinced him that it was inconsequential and that they should still go for it. And a lot of people feel like he was pressured, and the engineers, or the scientists who had the issues with the O joints were excluded from this meeting, and so they went forward. And initially, Roger thought it was fine because he assumed it would blow up before liftoff, but unfortunately, his fears would soon come to be realized. I think it's hard in his position because even after the fact, he testified against it, and he just showed his evidence and what he thought, and he was ostracized for it. And it's really hard, but I do believe that people's lives are more important than a space shuttle, so those astronauts died, and it's just something that was completely avoidable. Luckily, Roger, he did do the right thing. He was ostracized, but then he went on to talk about ethics in the workplace, I think specifically with his field. And so moving forward, I think NASA, the biggest thing they could have done differently is listen to their engineers. And they could have prioritized that over their agenda. And so I think going forward, this is a great case of talking to each other, ethics in the workplace, and because of this, NASA, they created a separate wing in the organization that went over that. So if somebody felt like they weren't being heard or there's something wrong, they could go to them, which is something that Roger didn't have. So that's good, knowing that that's going forward, and hopefully this could be an example to many other organizations, from technological side to any other side, that if you have people who have concerns, you should listen to them.